Hey there, this is another video response that I'm making for FilmSpeak, Aaron's director series on James Cameron. He's talking about The Abyss this time around, which came out in '89. And this movie was pretty much my favorite movie of that summer, the summer of '89. They had new Lethal Weapon movie had come out, and new Indiana Jones movie, and the first Batman, first Tim Burton Batman film, of course. But The Abyss, I felt, had a lot more drama, a lot more substance. The stakes were higher. It wasn't just some flighty little silly adventure. It was more serious-minded, and that appealed to me. I was 16 when this movie came out, and I saw it 2 or 3 times in the theater. Really enjoyed it a lot. Now, Aaron watched the director's edition, and of course my first viewing of it was of the regular theatrical edition, but I've seen the director's edition. I owned a copy of it for a number of years before losing it or getting rid of it, something like that. And he had some complaints about the end, and I see where you're going with that. I get that. It does seem a little ham-fisted. And at the time, it's probably a good thing that it wasn't included in the theatrical version. And the reason why it wasn't, of course, is because he just didn't have the technology to do it. There was this tidal wave that comes up and is about to, wash over everything on shore. This tidal wave that's like miles high or something like that, and just stops and holds its position like a sculpture, and just waits there for a cue or something like that. And he wasn't able to do that. He could do the pseudopod, he could do the water tentacle, but he couldn't apparently do that tidal wave, at least not realistically enough to his satisfaction. So he, just basically cut that whole bit. The reason why I liked this movie a lot is because it was very exciting, suspenseful. There was I read a lot about the process of making the movie, which is extremely complicated and time-consuming, and just, a lot of trouble to just shoot so much of that stuff underwater. He actually developed his own system of microphones that could be used in a full face mask underwater, so the actors could actually record dialogue underwater. Plus, he could, use verbal instructions to the crew and everything like that, rather than having to do everything in sign language or whatever. They used laminated script pages. Anyway, yeah, a lot of trouble went into making the movie, but I felt it really paid off nicely. And I wouldn't say it's my most favorite Cameron movie. That would be Aliens, but I like The Abyss a lot, and particularly because of the actors. I think Ed Harris and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, they're the lead characters, and they're definitely a step up from Michael Beihn and Linda Hamilton from The Terminator. Maybe not Sigourney Weaver. There's a nice, colorful cast in both Aliens and The Abyss. Really like Leo Burmeister and Todd Graff and some of the other people who were in the supporting cast. And of course Michael Beihn is in this movie, as well as the seal who kind of goes a little wackadoodle and ends up threatening the lives of everyone down there. And that was cool. I don't know if I mentioned this in my video on Aliens, but the piece of music in which plays while Ripley is climbing out of the airlock in the Sulaco and the Queen is hanging on to her, and is about to fall out. That piece of music has been used in a lot of movie previews. And The Abyss also has a piece of music that's been used frequently, particularly in the previews for The Fugitive with Harrison Ford. And it's there's a lot of drums, basically. It's like a snare drum, or maybe not a snare drum, but it's like something really percussive. And when they have their big fight scene, that's something that got used frequently in previews for their action movies, if you know what I mean. So what else did I want to... Oh yeah, here's one thing that I thought was interesting. There's a scene in the director's edition where Kimberly Scott, one of the crew members aboard the oil rig, is piloting one of those big submersibles with the arms, and she's singing along to a country song. And there's this whole scene where everyone's sort of listening or singing along with her. Now in the theatrical version, they only use one little bit of that scene. And it's just one shot of her singing as it goes along, whereas the director's cut has pretty much the whole song, or singing along to the whole song. And they actually had to pay different amounts because they only wanted to pay for the bit that they used. Apparently in the theatrical version they said, okay, we're only going to use this bit, so we'll pay the record company just to use this piece. And when they released the director's cut, they had to pay more to the record company to use more of the song. I didn't think that was a thing. I thought that you just pay to use the song in general, and then you use whatever bit you want, but apparently, they actually, you know, wanted to save money by only paying to use a little bit of the song. Kubrick wouldn't have done that. Kubrick would have paid for the rights to use the entire song and then just used, you know, whatever bit that he wanted to, so he had the flexibility of choice there without having to shell out more later on. So anyway, if you haven't checked out Aaron's series, please do. Looking forward to more. Coming up, I guess we've got Terminator 2 and True Lies and Titanic and Avatar, and that will be the Cameron series. So I'm planning on doing a video response for each of those. So thanks very much, Aaron, for doing the series, and thanks you guys for watching. I'll see you again real soon. Bye.